Hello and welcome to this Java video tutorial where we are going to be looking at the main method. So let's jump right in. We're going to be looking at the main method in our particular projects that all our projects must have to be able to run our particular code, our classes that are within our source files, and it's very important, so we really need to understand how it works. We're going to be creating a bunch of projects in the future, in future tutorials, so I really want to help you understand every particular aspect of Java, not just being able to code in Java, but to fully understand how everything works. So the main method: a Java application must contain a main method regardless of the project. The runtime system starts your project by calling its main function first, which is this here. On line 17 you can see it starts and it finishes on line 19, and we have public static void main. We've got a string array in there which has some arguments that we're going to pass in. Don't worry too much about the terminology in this video. It's going to be a fairly complex video, so I don't want to scare you off this particular series. Just drop a comment below if you have any queries or questions, whatever it may be, and I'll answer them as best as I can. So, as mentioned, the runtime system starts by calling the class's main method. The main method then calls all the other methods required to run your application, so it'll link all your particular classes together. If you try to run a class with the Java interpreter that does not have a main method, the interpreter prints an error message. So, as we saw here, we have public static void, and we're going to go over these three particular elements. Public indicates that the main method can be called by any object. Static indicates that the main method is a class method. Void indicates that the main method has no return value. And that's just a brief summary of those three elements, and we're going to be going over those in more depth in the future tutorials. But I want to go over what static means today to give you a good understanding. It's fairly complex to jump right into what static means in a particular tutorial for programming, but it's very important that we understand how the main method works. So yeah, the reason it's static is because this particular method is part of its class. And like I mentioned previously, we have different classes. So we could have a person class, an animal class, all sorts of different classes, a car class. So yeah, arguments to the main method. Static methods in Java belong to the class, not an instance of that particular class. They use no instance variables and will usually take input from the parameters, perform actions on it, and then return a result. Instance methods are associated with objects and, as the name implies, can use instance variables. And we're going to be going over more in more depth what instance variables are, instance methods, and all that good stuff. So if you do struggle, like I said, drop a comment below and I'll explain as much as I can. But I should have videos up very soon with these particular topics. So what we have here is we have a string array that is basically using a mechanism which the runtime system passes information to your application. So each string in the array is called a command line argument, which we're passing to the string arguments. Command line arguments let users affect the operation of the application without recompiling it. So what exactly are static methods? Static methods in Java belong to a class. So if you have a person class, those static methods belong to that person class. So it's not an instance of it. It doesn't mean we have to go ahead and create an object just so we can access that particular method. We can simply just call that method instantly. They use no instance variables and will usually take input from the parameters. So that basically means if we have a method, we're passing into the particular method some parameters. It's like a multiplication method. So if we're passing in 2 and 5 and we're getting, say, 10 returned, that's a good reason to use a static method, basically because we have no instance or local variables for that particular method. We're just using stuff that we're passing in. Even though we can set local variables with static methods, because we could with that particular 2 times 5, we could initialize them in that particular method, but we could just pass them directly in. So yeah, instance methods are associated with objects, and as the name implies, can use instance variables. So in Java programming, the main motivation for making a method static is convenience. So we can call like if we've got 5 classes, we can call that particular method the multiplication method. And we can call it throughout our particular program from anywhere because we've got it as a static method, which is really neat. Like I said, so you can call a static method without creating an object just by using its class name, which is very, very good. Static methods do not modify state of object, which basically means, just, well, in layman's terms, we don't have to create an object to get that particular method, which is good. Static methods do have limitations too, so have a look into why they have their limitations. Modern days IDEs like NetBeans also show static methods in italics to differentiate it from other methods. Rules to make a static method in Java. There are no hard and fast written rules, but we can get pretty close when it comes to why we should make something static. If a method doesn't modify state of object or is not using an instance variable, it's a good idea to make it static. You want to call a method without having to create an instance of that particular class. Basically, you can call a method without having to initialize an object, as I previously mentioned. A method that only works with arguments provided it is a good candidate to be static. You pick up the static usage after just messing around with a few of your own programs, creating stuff, and getting to the point where you want convenience. So you'll probably start coming across static methods. So yeah, like I said, if you have a calculation based method or one or two, you could have an addition method, a multiplication one. There's no need to create an object just to multiply 2 numbers. Make that method static and you're all good. So here, running the main method. Each string in the array is called a command line argument, as mentioned. Remember, the main method is an entry point for the Java application. Java is run by the main thread, which is a non-daemon thread, and Java programs run until the main method finishes or any other user thread is running. And that's really important. So let's jump into daemon threads. Traditionally, daemon processes in Unix were those that were constantly running in the background, much like services in Windows, where they're just running in the background and you can't really see them, but they are running. A daemon thread in Java is one that doesn't prevent the JVM, so the Java virtual machine, from exiting. Specifically, the JVM will exit when only daemon threads remain. So basically, if we have we're doing some input and output, we don't want to exit our Java application. We want to finish everything. That's important, and just leave the daemon methods, running in the background. And that means we can quit the application. You can use the set daemon method to change the thread daemon properties, which is really useful. We'll look into that in future tutorials. Daemon methods, well, daemons in general, not daemon methods, but daemons are dangerous to use for tasks that perform any sort of I/O, such as input output. So be very careful with those. And yeah, that's a lot to take in. So as I said, don't worry too much about the content of this. I just wanted to summarize how the main method works. There's a lot of content to go over for any beginner, and I don't want to put you off this particular series. So if you do need any help, drop a comment below. We went over specifically static methods and daemon threads. So yeah, if that was helpful, please remember to like this video. And if you'd like to see more of these videos, remember to subscribe so you can see each particular time I upload a video. And feel free to ask me questions if you do need help. I'm always willing to help. You can tweet me at Carl Hadwin. It should be on the screen now, or drop a comment in the comments section below, because other people do tend to comment, and there's a lot of helpful people who are subscribed. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and have a good day.